Hey, I'm the Star Trek guy and I have another review for you. The movie begins with Lieutenant Saavik doing the Kobayashi Maru test, in which she fails, and Admiral Kirk is giving her some pointers on stuff, saying things like, how we deal with death is as least as important as how we deal with life. I mean, they sound like very encouraging good words, right? Then there's the fact that it's Jim Kirk's birthday and he's really grim about it because he's getting old, and he said gallivanting around the galaxy is a game for the young. So, McCoy gets him some really old glasses because he starts having some vision problems, and he's allergic to Red Nox 5, which I guess is something that helps cure eyesight problems. Spock gives him a copy of A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Okay, so from there on they go to the plot, which is the Reliant is looking for a lifeless rock in which to test the Genesis project, and they go to Ceti Alpha 6, only to discover it's Ceti Alpha 5. That's the planet where they left Khan in the original series episode Space Seed. So they run into Khan, and Khan explains that Ceti Alpha 6 exploded, and then that shifted the orbits of all the other planets. So Khan takes control of the Reliant and is aware of the Genesis torpedo project, and he goes after the space station, Regula 1, and he ransacks the place only to find nothing, and it just goes on from there. I mean, you get the gist. This movie is really, 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 really good. It is a very good one. You know, there's a lot of flops in the Star Trek movies, but this one is really good. This is a definite, real good comeback from the motion picture, although motion picture wasn't bad, it was just very slow moving and didn't have hardly any action. No, the Wrath of Khan definitely made up for that. It was awesome. I'm not exactly sure what I like most about this movie. I mean, all in all, it was just really, really good. I like how Chekhov had a kind of a bigger role than he usually has in the past. You know, being first officer of the Reliant. I thought that was pretty good for him. I like how we find out that Kirk had a son. I mean, of all those women he had back in the original series, now we find out he has a son. He's been a dad all along. I mean, you're thinking, one of those he's going to be a dad with. It's Carol Marcus. It's her. She's the one. Had the kid with Kirk. I thought Khan's reason for hunting down Kirk was more legit than, say, some of the other past or even future Star Trek villains. The villains that stand out to me are like Shinzon and Nero. Neither one had a good motive for what they were doing. Shinzon was mad at Picard, so he was going to attack Starfleet or annihilate the population on Earth. And when all reality, he should have been like attacking Romulans because they were suppressing the Remans for so long. Nero was mad at Starfleet, and he was going to attack them and make Romulus, you know, a world without Starfleet and stuff. All because Spock failed to save Romulus from that supernova that threatened the galaxy. But this is why I like Khan. Khan had a good reason. You know, Kirk stranded Khan on that desert, uninhabitable looking planet, and it killed his wife and some of his people. You know, some of the, you know, the happenstances of stuff that happened to be there. I don't like that sentence, but I'm going to use it anyway. Dang it! I just realized that light isn't on. The light must be on. You're about to see why. Oh my god, you can actually see me. Isn't that amazing? Ooh, I have a face! And I'm not just some pitch black figure like those detective stories you see on TV, and they're like blacked out, but you can still hear them, but they're like sitting on a couch or whatever, and there's just light behind them and you can't see their face because it's black. They're just like, oh yeah, I was kidnapped for a few days and you know, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. No, I have a face. It looks like that because of that light. You can get on my face. You can see my face. I like the whole thing about Kirk never facing death and saying that he doesn't like to lose, but then at the end when Spock dies, he realizes he sooner or later does have to face death. And you can't just cheat his way out of it. It's not all the time. Okay, so there is something I didn't like about the Wrath of Khan. I think that nebula was a little too convenient, having having it make it so shields don't work and the view screen doesn't work, or sensors, or that tactical view that they used. So it was like, Enterprise is a little more crippled, Reliant has the advantage, go to the nebula, and then they have evenness, like even match. I thought that was just too convenient. That nebula is just like, ships are moving like really, really slowly. Oh, we're gonna make it. Oh, we're gonna make it to the nebula. Nebula. Oh, we made it. It's like that just happened to be there, right there. I mean, that's very convenient with the nebula. So way to go, nebula. There are a couple of things I just don't get. I've heard a lot of interviews about this, and it's obvious that Chekhov was not in the original episode of Space Seed, yet Khan recognized Chekhov, and Chekhov knew who Khan was, and they were talking like he was there and was one of the people held hostage back on the Enterprise. According to an interview of Walter Koenig, he realized this and he could have said something, but he didn't. And I'm assuming Ricardo Montalban could have said something as well, but he didn't either, and they let this slip. I also think that for a genetically enhanced Superman with a mind of, with a capacity far greater than the average human, I think he should have been able to do better with what he was doing. He didn't seem to anticipate very well. And what did he say? He's supposed to... Well, it's a discontinuity. In Enterprise, the augment said... He said, I have twice your strength, 5 times your brain capacity, but Khan in Space Seed, I think, said, I have 5 times your strength. And then Kirk was able to beat him up with that thing that he pulled out of his, that console, which actually looked cheesy, but everything in the original Star Trek looked cheesy. But in any case, he's supposed to have a vastly superior intellect. And, I would, I think at every conceivable possibility he would have outthought Kirk. And he did, back in the original series, study the technical manuals of the Enterprise. So he should have known about the prefix code and, well, pretty much anything else. Oh, one more thing I don't get. On the Reliant, Khan detonated the Genesis torpedo. And when Spock killed himself to get the warp drive back online and then they zoomed out, it blew up. But then... how did it make the Genesis planet? Where'd the planet come from? The planet wasn't made out of the Reliant. Okay, so I give Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. I'm going... no. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna give it a whopping 9 out of 10 stars, because it is just that awesome. What do you think of The Wrath of Khan? Any comments, questions? You should comment below, let me know. And I can definitely answer them for you. And I definitely want to know your comments about The Wrath of Khan. Also, it is getting very difficult for me to pick an episode and just review it. So I'd like some suggestions. I want someone else to pick for me is pretty much what I'm saying. So if you want an episode reviewed by me, let me know and I will get right on that. The first one to give me an episode, I'm going to review it. I promise. Within a month, I will review it. I promise. So... give me an episode and let me review it. Well, that's all I have for this one. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.